In the quiet town of Haverford, Pennsylvania, where colonial homes lined cobblestone streets and neighbors waved from manicured lawns, the illusion of serenity shattered on a crisp October morning in 2023. At 7:12 a.m., a 911 call pierced the stillness. The voice on the line belonged to Clara Hensley, a 42-year-old art curator, her words trembling as she whispered, "There's blood everywhere. I think he's gone." The dispatcher struggled to calm her, piecing together fragments of her distress. She gave an address, 27 Willow Lane, a stately brick house with ivy creeping up its walls. Within minutes, Haverford Township police arrived, their boots crunching on fallen leaves as they approached the open front door. Inside, the air was heavy, tinged with the metallic scent of blood. Officer Daniel Bryce, a 10-year veteran, led the way, his flashlight cutting through the dim foyer. The house was silent save for Clara's muffled sobs from the kitchen. Bryce followed the sound, finding her slumped at a marble island, her hands stained red, her eyes hollow. She pointed toward the living room without speaking. There, sprawled across a cream-colored rug, lay Victor Hensley, her 45-year-old husband, a prominent estate attorney. His chest was still, his shirt torn open, revealing 3 deep stab wounds. Blood had pooled beneath him, seeping into the fibers of the rug, its edges already darkening. A shattered wine glass glittered nearby, its contents staining the hardwood floor. Bryce called for backup while his partner, Officer Lena Torres, secured the scene. Clara, shaking, muttered that she'd found him like this when she woke up. She'd been upstairs, she said, sleeping alone in the guest room after an argument. Torres noted her calm demeanor beneath the tears, her voice steady despite the chaos. Paramedics arrived at 7:28 a.m., confirming Victor was dead, likely for hours. The medical examiner, Dr. Evelyn Rao, estimated the time of death between midnight and 3 a.m. The wounds suggested a frenzied attack, the blade driven with force, likely by someone Victor knew. No signs of forced entry marred the doors or windows. Detective Marcus Reed, a wiry man with a knack for seeing through lies, took charge by 8:15 a.m. The Hensley home was pristine, its walls adorned with Clara's curated paintings, bold abstracts clashing with the grim reality below. Reed's first impression was that the scene felt staged. The wine glass, the untouched furniture, the lack of defensive wounds on Victor's hands, it didn't add up. He interviewed Clara in the dining room, her silk robe still flecked with blood. She recounted their evening. Dinner at home, a bottle of Pinot Noir, and a fight about money. Victor had been stressed, she said, working late on a high-profile case. She'd gone to bed alone, assuming he'd sleep on the couch. At dawn, she'd found him. Reed pressed for details. Clara mentioned Victor's recent paranoia, late-night calls he wouldn't explain, a habit of locking his study. She didn't know who he'd been talking to, but he'd seemed distant, almost afraid. Reed noted her precision, the way she avoided his gaze when he asked about their marriage. Forensic technicians swarmed the living room, collecting fibers from the rug, dusting for prints and bagging the wine glass. They found a single partial fingerprint on the handle of a kitchen knife, the likely murder weapon, discarded in a sink full of soapy water. It didn't match Clara or Victor. The investigation deepened as Reed dug into Victor's life. He'd been a pillar of Haverford, known for handling estates of the wealthy, his charm disarming clients and colleagues alike. But beneath the polish, cracks emerged. His firm's records showed discrepancies, missing funds from a trust he managed for the Whitaker family, old money with deep ties to Philadelphia's elite. Victor's assistant, Nora Patel, revealed he'd been meeting someone in secret, always cash payments, no paper trail. She'd overheard a heated call days before his death, Victor whispering, "You don't get to threaten me." Clara, meanwhile, painted a picture of a strained marriage. Victor's long hours had left her isolated, her days spent restoring paintings in a rented studio. She admitted to resenting his absence, but swore she'd never heard him. Reed wasn't convinced. Her alibi was shaky. No one could confirm she'd been upstairs all night. Neighbors reported hearing raised voices around 11 p.m., though none saw anyone enter or leave. A security camera from a nearby house caught a shadow moving across the Hensley lawn at 1:47 a.m., too blurry to identify. In a small village, a cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in exchange for its freedom. Whiskers wished for endless fish, a cozy bed, and a bell that rang softly. The fish granted all 3 wishes and swam away, leaving Whiskers content and purring in the sun. By day 3, a new lead surfaced. Victor's phone, recovered from his pocket, held encrypted messages to an unknown number. The last one, sent at 11:32 p.m. the night he died, read, "Meet me tonight. We end this." The number traced to a burner phone, purchased at a gas station in nearby Ardmore. Reed's team canvassed the area, finding a clerk who vaguely recalled a woman in a scarf buying it weeks earlier. Clara denied owning a burner, but her studio records showed unexplained cash withdrawals matching the phone's purchase date. Suspicion tightened around Clara, yet Reed sensed a bigger picture. Victor's financial troubles pointed to blackmail. Had he been paying someone to keep a secret? Reed interviewed Ethan Whitaker, the 30-year-old heir to the Whitaker fortune. Ethan was volatile, nursing a grudge against Victor for mismanaging his inheritance. He admitted confronting Victor days before the murder, demanding answers about the missing $200,000. Ethan claimed he'd been at a bar in Philly the night Victor died, but his alibi wavered. Bartenders couldn't place him after midnight. Another figure emerged, Lila Monroe, a 38-year-old private investigator Victor had hired 6 months prior. Lila was sharp, her office cluttered with case files and coffee mugs. She admitted Victor had tasked her with digging into Clara's activities, suspecting an affair. Lila found nothing concrete but noted Clara's frequent visits to a rundown motel in Chester County. When Reed confronted Clara, she broke down, confessing to meeting a man there, not a lover, but a forger named Julian Kerr. She'd been buying fake provenance documents for a painting she'd sold to a gallery, desperate to cover debts Victor didn't know about. The plot thickened. Julian, a wiry ex-con with a rap sheet for fraud, confirmed Clara's story but added a twist. Victor had approached him weeks before, offering cash to scare Clara into confessing her scheme. Julian refused, sensing Victor was unraveling. Reed's gut told him Julian was holding back. A search of Julian's apartment turned up a bloody glove, its DNA matching Victor's. Julian swore festivals it was planted, claiming he'd been at a poker game the night of the murder. His buddies backed him up, but their stories felt rehearsed. Days turned to weeks and the case grew colder. Clara remained the prime suspect, her inconsistencies piling up. She'd lied about her debts, her whereabouts, even her feelings for Victor. Yet no physical evidence tied her directly to the knife. Reed couldn't shake the feeling that someone else was pulling strings. Then, a breakthrough. The forensic team recovered a deleted voicemail from Victor's phone, timestamped 12:04 a.m. the night he died. It was Lila Monroe, her voice urgent. "Victor, don't do it. Whatever you're planning, it's not worth it. Call me back." Reed hauled Lila in. Under pressure, she cracked. Victor had been desperate, she said, convinced Clara was plotting against him. He'd hired Lila not just to watch her, but to uncover a conspiracy he believed involved Ethan Whitaker and Julian Kerr. Victor thought they were extorting him, using Clara's forgery as leverage. Lila warned him against confronting anyone alone, but he wouldn't listen. She'd called that night fearing he'd set a trap. Lila swore she never went to the house, but her car's GPS placed her 2 blocks away at 1:30 a.m. The pieces fell into place, but not neatly. Reed theorized Victor had lured someone to the house, expecting a showdown. Instead, he'd miscalculated. The shadow on the lawn, the knife in the sink, the bloody glove, all pointed to a rushed cover-up. But whose? Ethan's temper made him a candidate, yet his DNA wasn't on the glove. Julian had motive, but an alibi. Lila's presence was damning, but her story held water. Clara's tears felt real, yet her lies lingered. On November 12, 2023, a storm hit Haverford, flooding streets and downing trees. A neighbor cleaning debris found a soaked envelope wedged in a storm drain near Willow Lane. Inside was a handwritten note, its ink smudged but legible. Clara, I know everything. Meet me at midnight or I tell the world. The handwriting matched Victor's. Reed's heart raced. This was the trap. Victor had planned to confront Clara, not Ethan or Julian, but Clara hadn't taken the bait. Someone else had. Reed revisited, the crime scene, walking the living room in silence. The rug was gone, the blood scrubbed away, but the space whispered secrets. He noticed a faint scratch on the fireplace mantel, barely visible. Forensics had missed it. A closer look revealed a hidden compartment, its lock recently forced. Inside was a USB drive, its files encrypted but labeled insurance. After hours of cracking, Reed's tech team accessed it. Audio recordings of Victor and Ethan arguing over the missing trust funds. Ethan's voice was clear. Fix this, or I'll make sure you lose everything. But there was more. A final recording. Victor alone, his voice low. If you're hearing this, I'm probably dead. Clara's not who you think. She's been playing us all. I tried to stop her, but I was too late. The timestamp was 11:58 p.m., minutes before his death. Reed froze. Victor had suspected Clara, but not of murder, of orchestrating the entire mess. Had she manipulated Ethan and Julian, pitting them against Victor to cover her tracks? Reed brought Clara in one last time. Her composure was gone, her face pale as he played the recording. She didn't deny it. In a whisper, she confessed, not to killing Victor, but to setting the stage. She'd known about his suspicions, his meetings with Lila, his paranoia. She'd fed Ethan lies about Victor's betrayal, knowing his temper would boil over. She'd tipped Julian off, hinting Victor was onto him. Clara wanted Victor scared, humbled, not dead, but someone, Ethan, she assumed, had taken it too far. Ethan's arrest came swiftly. The glove's DNA was retested, revealing a partial match to him, not Julian. Faced with the recordings, he crumbled. He'd gone to the house that night, furious, expecting to threaten Victor into compliance. Victor, drunk and defiant, laughed in his face. Ethan snapped, grabbing the knife from the kitchen. It was over in seconds. He'd fled, tossing the glove in a panic, never knowing Clara had orchestrated the confrontation. Clara faced charges of conspiracy and fraud, her role in the forgery and manipulation undeniable. She'd thought she could control the chaos, but it consumed her. Ethan was convicted of second-degree murder, sentenced to 20 years. Julian walked free, his hands clean enough to slip through. Lila, cleared of wrongdoing, left Haverford, haunted by her failure to stop Victor's spiral. The trial ended in June 2024, but Haverford wasn't the same. Willow Lane stood empty, its windows dark, a monument to secrets unraveled. Clara, awaiting sentencing, sat alone in her cell, her paintings unsold, her life a canvas of regret. Ethan's family disowned him, their wealth no shield against shame. Victor's legacy, once one of trust and triumph, was now a cautionary tale, whispered over coffee in Haverford's quiet cafes.